Welcome to Okaloosa Today, local news and information. Connecting the communities of Fulton Beach, Destin, and Okaloosa County.
Welcome to Okaloosa Today on Cox. This is your monthly look at the city of Destin, Fort Walton Beach, and Okaloosa County. I'm Doug Rayner with the City of Destin, and today the city's program is about hurricane preparation and emergency management. And we have the city's emergency manager, Tim Pietenpol, here to walk us through a lot of hurricane preparation, pre-storm, during a storm, after a storm. We do this every year. Tim, you've been the emergency manager for several years now, so thank you for being here with us.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate you having me on.
This is a good time to get going because June begins hurricane season. It's something that everybody worries about, nobody wants to think about, but it's your job and the emergency management team's job to make sure the city's prepared and the citizens are prepared and understand what's going on. So let's kind of talk about that today and let our citizens know, what the city does and what they should be doing. Sure.
Probably one of the first things you need to know when you're talking emergency management is get your family together and develop a plan. One of the key things for folks to do prior to the storm showing up is to know what they're going to do. Hopefully, the majority of the folks, especially in Destin on some of those barrier islands, are going to leave with the storm surge and those things. So you need to be prepared to make sure when you get ready to go, you've got important documents, things along the lines of house paperwork, Social Security cards, insurance documents, birth certificates, any of those type of papers. You need to probably do that this time of year and have them ready to go so that you're not looking to gather that information before you evacuate.
Yeah, that's right, and it's important. And a lot of people don't think about that kind of thing when we get into hurricane season, and it's like, oh well, if something comes up, we'll worry about it then. But really, I mean, just developing a plan, letting others know what you're going to be doing, and things like that would really benefit you and your community, your neighbors, your friends, and family, because it's important to kind of keep track of things and communicate.
Exactly. When you get ready to evacuate, you're going to have to make sure family knows where you're going. You want to know where you're going first, so that's part of this preparation plan.
Right.
Make sure your friends, neighbors, family know where you're going to be going, so you want to have that planned in advance. Maybe pick 3 different locations farther north, depending on which way the storm's coming in, so that you can be prepared to let everybody know where you're going and head that way.
Right, and I think we even advise that even if there's not a mandatory evacuation, it's not a bad idea to leave town if you have a place to go, just because of the amount of things that go on in the city when a storm comes through, even a mild one. Being out of town is not a bad thing.
You're right. It's we do most of our preparations for hurricanes. With hurricanes come tornadoes. Those don't necessarily have to be part of the hurricane, but we have 2 Aprils ago we had really heavy rains.
Right.
And that was a problem with flooding. So even though we concentrate our efforts on a hurricane, it doesn't have to be just that. Any type of emergency can occur at any time of the year.
Let's talk a little bit about what people might need to gather as supplies. So you're going to stay. So let's say you need some. What would you need to put in your kit?
Well, of course, we want to encourage folks to leave. We don't want them to stay. Should they stay, there are certain things that you're going to want to make sure you keep with you. You want to have batteries, battery-operated radio, prepare your house, fill your bathtub with water, food, 3 days at least if you can. You want to have protective weather gear, those type items. It's mostly common sense that you're going to want to do if you're going to stay, but those are some of the key components.
Yeah, and we talked last year a little bit about sandbags. I know that it's important to have those if you feel like water's going to come inside your house, and you can buy those at your local hardware stores. Yeah. The city also will provide a few what we have available and sand over at the Public Works compound on Commons Drive.
We do, and the sandbags will help. Don't count on them stopping water from entering your home just because the flood, you'd have to build a wall. around your house. But
Sure.
if you have experienced it in the past, maybe it comes under the door, by all means, come on. We'll provide the sandbags for you, and we'll have a location where you can fill them and take whatever you need. Now, we do try to limit the number a little bit just so that we can provide some to everybody,
right.
But it's certainly available for the public's use.
Good. That's good to know. Let's talk a little bit now about preparations for your home, and we know that there's no hurricane on the horizon as we're talking right this minute. So what would you want to do to your home to get it ready? And there's a process that you kind of suggest people to do to shore up their home.
There is. Don't wait until you hear that the hurricane in the Gulf, start trimming trees, dead branches, those type of things. Do that now. Be prepared, because if you do want to trim those trees just prior to the hurricane and put them out, there may be a problem with them being picked up. They may have to stop routes due to the severity of the storm and the quickness of the storm. So those items could become missiles.
Right.
So,
the last thing you want is limbs and things sitting on the side of the road when a storm comes through.
Yeah, you'll want to do that. Anything that you keep outside, such as patio furniture, anything that can picked up by the wind and thrown. So you want to try to secure those items.
Right. Very good. Very good. And I think that it's really important just to have that plan, to go through your checklist, have the things you need, clean your house up now. Don't wait until it's too late. And that really will set you up to not be in a rush and not have to panic when something comes along.
And that's it exactly. You want to have everything in place, ready to go, so that, if you get the alert that there's a storm forming, it's like, okay, well, I've got everything. I just got to go over and make sure I've got it all done. You do a 30 minutes worth of work as opposed to 4 hours of work if you have to evacuate.
You mentioned alert, and that's a good segue into people now signing up for notifications, and the city does a good job of alerting people when we have emergency situations. We have a subscriber list on our website, emergency and hurricane alerts. We actually sent out the hurricane guide this month, so it's out in the public view. It talks about all these things that we're talking about today, and I think we'll even have a few images of that while we're talking. But that information is vetted. First of all, it comes from the emergency management from Okaloosa County. So in the age of 24-hour news, we can guarantee that anything we put out is absolutely accurate and specific to the city of Destin and Okaloosa County. So we're going to start with that. There's other things. The Ready Okaloosa app that the county has is really important. I've signed up for that. You can receive notifications when issues come about. And then, use the county's Code Red emergency. I know you've seen that. We're all subscribed to that. It alerts you when something's going on, and you might be sound asleep, but your phone's going to go off and tell you. It's really the way to go, and these emergency alerts are important because, again, you're getting vetted information. We control it, and when we need to tell somebody something, and if you're connected, then you're gonna see it and understand it.
Well, you're exactly right. It's kind of like we mentioned previously. It's not only just hurricanes, tornadoes, floods. We've got a lot of rivers in the north part of the county. It doesn't affect Destin a whole lot with that, but you're exactly right. You get that alert, and boom, So.
And we've seen that, like you said, the floods in April a couple of years ago. We were able to work through that process and use those things. Facebook is another great way to get information. Again, everybody has a Facebook page. Everybody puts information out. But if it's on the City of Destin Facebook page, you can guarantee that it's accurate and it's what we want you to know. So
it's not rumor.
It's not rumor. We encourage people to do that. Well, let's say we did the prep before a storm. Let's go into the during the storm. Let's talk about that. Bridges are closing and things of that nature. What do people expect if they're here?
If you stay, be prepared to stay. As we said, you want to fill your bathtub with water. You want to have supplies. You want to have batteries. You want to have radio. Communication information is key, even if you leave. But should you stay, you can pretty much count on no response to an emergency you may have. Fire department, sheriff's department, their safety is just as paramount as everybody else's.
Right.
So once those bridges close at 35 miles per hour, they'll close those bridges. There's no traffic. So if you stay, you might as well plan on being without power probably for at least 3 to 4 days. You may not know what your water or your situation could be depending on storm surge and things along those lines. But if you stay, make sure you plan on staying and stay in the house.
Right.
Don't get out and wander around. It's not going to be safe.
And there's no leaving and no coming back once that happens.
Exactly.
There's also, you mentioned this earlier, but batteries, and you need a battery-powered radio, because if everything goes out, you're not going to be getting your Facebook messages or your alerts on your phone. But we also send messages, the City of Destin does, along with Okaloosa County Emergency Management, sends the messages to radio stations, and that's what they'll be saying during a storm, before, during, and after a storm. So it's really important to
really
pay attention.
That's the key, is the communication aspect of it.
Now, if you did evacuate, let's talk about that. You're out of town. What should you be doing?
They're again monitoring any type of media. Weather Channel's great. Radio stations have pretty long distance where you can contact them. We've got phone numbers that you can call for updates, websites. Monitor all that.
Right. County 311, that's their emergency number. They will have updated information on that. It's very important to stay in tune with your local media, and the Weather Channel is great, but we want to also make sure people understand that there are local resources to get information, accurate information. There
are. They go through the county and then they're vetted down to us so that the information we've got on our website we know is correct.
Good, good. Well, let's move into after a storm. I mean, it's come through, and we've had the issue, however severe that would be, and knowing Destin, it could be anywhere from minor to very, very extreme. You said Barrier Island. I mean, we could take a wallop. Yeah,
it's. Personally, I've seen some roadways covered in 10 feet of sand. You can't travel them. Folks are gone, they want to come back, they want to find out what's going on, and we can't always give them that information because we don't know. There are places that we can't get. But the first thing that the city will do is we'll get out and we'll start clearing roads to make sure that emergency vehicles can get back into those places. Utility companies have to come out, they have to check power, water, sewer, to make sure that those are safe. You can count. Gulf Shore Drive is a good example. You get a storm surge up there, sand will cover everything, and the commodes are not going to work. You can't count on the water being safe to drink. So, you think about going to the woods for 3 days with no, amenities. It's kind of like, well, it could be tough.
Roughing it, right?
Yeah, I mean, you've got no place to go, and you don't want to go anywhere because you've got down power lines. I mean, sure, it's calm, the weather is calmed down, but if you're out walking around, you don't know what things are hiding out there.
Right.
You get shocked, you got construction debris, you got nails, you got things as simple as snakes. Water comes in, the snakes aren't going to stay in their holes, they're coming up. So you got dangerous wildlife everywhere. So the first thing is be safe, use common sense. Don't start moving around until a roadway is cleared where you can get where you need to go.
Right. And we also want to stress patience. I mean, this is a process. Once this happens, a lot of organizations, a lot of people have to work together to make things move. And you might not see anything happening immediately, but there are a lot of things going on. Again, you talked about your guys moving in and clearing roadways and debris to make sure that the emergency vehicles can move through. It's important that people understand the process, or if you don't understand the process, understand that it's going on, and to be patient as the city and the county and emergency people work through everything. Speaking of after a storm assessments and things of that nature, the city contracts with a debris removal company or something like that. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, you actually have, over the last several years, you've got companies that have gone on into this business specifically, where they'll sign contracts with counties and cities where they will come in and they will actually clear items. So if you've got a storm on the horizon, they'll station all of their equipment and their people as close as they feel they can safely do so. Our area, it's probably the I-10 area north of us. They'll station everything, and once the storm moves through, they're coming in. They're going to assess the situation. They're going to start clearing roads for us, and they'll stay in close contact with us. We pretty much guide their efforts on where we want them to go. And the folks that we've worked with have been great. They've been doing it for a long time, and They'll get in and they'll get it cleared up so folks can get in and see their properties.
I know recently they've come in and even given a little workshop to our staff to help us understand what they will be doing, answering our questions, and really assured us, and we felt better knowing that they have a plan and they will be here to take care of our city and our citizens.
They've been doing it for a long time, and they worked on Superstorm Sandy up in New York. They've worked in Texas. They've been all over the country, so they've got a lot of experience in this area.
Good. I think the last thing we want to hit on is the cleanup. So everything's clear, you can come back in, but it's a mess. So what do our residents and citizens need to know about just general cleanup and what to expect? With patience in mind, because things aren't going to move maybe as fast as they want. Tell us a little bit about that. Yeah,
those folks that don't stay and are coming back, first thing you want to do is don't come back too soon. You know, keep your ear listening to the media so that when the sheriff gives the all clear, you can make sure you can get back. Once you get back, as you said, use patience, and when you get to your property, depending on the condition, you know, maybe you've got some trees down, you've got a lot of branches, or who knows what may be there. Hopefully you can hopefully you can do it yourself. If not, you know, you'll have contractors coming in to assist. You'll remove all those items on your private property, and we'll place them in the right-of-way so that this debris management contractor can come from street to street and remove it. Typically, they'll make one pass and a second pass for those folks that don't get back in time. So the initial push removes probably 90% of the stuff. You know, the second route will go about 10%. So.
And you mentioned contractors in town, and that our contractors are great. We work with them. We contract with them. They're independent contractors. But I think a note to our residents: if somebody knocks on your door and it just doesn't seem quite right, it's probably a good idea just to let it go. We have that issue. I mean, people prey on storms and things, so it's something to be aware of. It is.
You know, have these folks make sure they show you their license. Make them show that they have insurance to do the work. I've had roofing contractors come in and want to do work on city buildings, and when you ask that question and you can see it in their eye, it's like, oh, well, I didn't know I needed that. It's like they knew that they needed that. So ask some questions before you hire somebody. Don't take that low cost, because a lot of times you get what you pay for.
That's right. That's right. We want everybody to be safe, but also taken care of too. We have just a minute left. Tim, this is good information. We put this on our YouTube channel. It runs on, of course, Cox Channel 6. Perpetuate this through the community. But any last word you'd like to say?
You know, the key again, communication. Keep your ears open. Listen to reports. Common sense, and be safe.
There you go. And patience.
And patience.
Well, Tim, thank you again. We really appreciate it. We want to encourage you to join our Facebook page, City of Destin Government. Join up for our alert system through the City of Destin's website, cityofdestin.com. Click on Notify Me. Join the emergency alerts, anything else you might be interested in. But at this time of year, it's very important to monitor these things and know you're getting good information. We want to make sure you stay safe during the hurricane season, and stay tuned for Joe Soria with the City of Fort Walton Beach next.